Okay, I'm back from our trip, and it's been hectic ever since we got back with things going on. But I wanted to give you a quick catch up. On the road, I picked up some different types of wood and have been playing around with carving knives, spoons, even forks, and even some magic wands for the youngins. But so, and a bowl. But anyway, a whole bunch of spoons and loving spoon. Cutting the logs I was finding was difficult, and I didn't bring with me remember I made this a few months ago. It's the Beast. It doesn't have any finesse. It's just made for hitting things. It's not very heavy though, but it hits hard. Well, we also found on the road, I promise I'll get through this quick so we can get on with the video, but you're going to like this. Somebody had stacked up in a national forest campground a bunch of oak logs. And I took one of the smaller logs, and while we were sitting around BSing one night, I carved this. This is a little heavier and a little more sturdy, and I was going to use it with a fro to split wood, because you have to split it when you harvest it to keep it from shrinking. But I don't have a fro, and but I do have this is my carving axe, so they went well together. Again, no finesse. I thought, when I get home, I need to get me a carving mallet. I just need one. 2 days later, exactly 2 days later, now he knows some of this story, he doesn't know this part. My daughter messaged me, "Hey Dad, there's a package here from Uncle Dave for you." Not thinking I should wait and do it here, I said, "Open it up. What is it?" You're not going to believe this. 2 days after, this is what he made. My big brother is extremely talented. And I now have a carving mallet. Now I want to show you kind of why the finesse part is needed, so hang on. This is cottonwood bark, and sometimes you can push through it, but when it's like that, taking little shavings, but when you're trying to get through that outer layer of bark or trying to do like a brow line, you need finesse. You don't need that, and you don't need that. So to my big brother Dave, thank you so much. This is going to get a lot of work. My winter is going to be spent in the garage when it's not too cold, and sitting right here doing some bark carvings. I'm also working on my holiday ho-hos. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys because the timing is impeccable, but he's always like that. So getting right into it, we're going to move on. I did a quick review on my new toy, and that's coming up now. So anyway, it's good to be back. All right, y'all. Good morning. My timeline is all jumbled now because, well, one, we came back from our trip a little early. So it's a week before, no, maybe less than that, before Halloween. So, but you won't see this because I backed up a bunch of videos in advance so that it would be ready to drop when we were gone. But I'm back. And so when you see this won't be new. I don't know, something. Anyway, while I was gone, my favorite store, you know what it is, they dropped a 30% coupon on all Bauer plug-in power tools. And that was kind of vague to me, so I contacted the store. I was in Utah at the time, back here in Tacoma, and I said, hey, does that include these? And they were like, good question, let's see. And they said, by George, it sure is. So I bit the bullet and bought a big power tool based on solely how happy I was with the miter saw I got from Harbor Freight. The Bauer, that thing has been no complaints. So I bought this other tool, and that's going to be the subject for today, and it's probably going to be incorporated more moving forward. So without further ado, I'm going to show you. Hold on. Well, maybe I won't show you. This thing is big and it's heavy. Let's see if I can get you. It's heavy. And then a week later, they had a 20% coupon. Up to 5 items under $20, you get 20% off each. Their blades, while not the greatest, are $14, minus 20% each. So I got 4 blades for this. Yes, you guessed it, bandsaw. I'm gonna get you a weight, and I'm gonna do an unboxing. Well, I'm gonna unbox it. Yeah, it's we had a deluge of rain the last few days, so the box got wet. This thing weighs 89 kilograms. That doesn't sound right, does it? Okay, I'm gonna get you that info. Oh, it's 180 pounds. Yes, some of it's packing, but that's a pretty heavy duty tool. So I'm not gonna go through and take each item out. I'm gonna take it out, lay it out, and then you're gonna see what it takes to set this thing up. And then we're gonna figure out what to do with it, because I have no idea. Remember, this was sight unseen. Thank you to my daughter for doing the legwork. So we'll be back. All right, y'all, we'll jump into all the specs once we get her set up and I give it a going over, but we got her unboxed. My wife had to help me lift this. I think it's a full 1 horsepower motor. That thing's heavy. This whole thing is heavy. The table is cast iron. It's heavy. The legs, I'm used to things nowadays having, if you remember the cart I bought for my forge, the metal is flimsy. This stuff is solid. It comes with casters for the front and back. So let me get it put together, and then we'll go over the features it comes with, what I like and what I don't like about it. How's that? Okay? But I just wanted you to see it unboxed, and it comes with read your instruction manual. Ha ha ha. Okay, quick update. Legs are on, wheels are on, everything's tightened up. At the end there, I put them all on loose. My wife's gonna come out and help me stand it up so I don't get hurt, because again, this thing is heavy, impressively so. So bring you back when we're a little further. It took a little while to get that all on, but I wasn't really rushing. So I'll give you a grand total of time spent too. All right, we're an hour and 20 minutes into it. That seems like a long time, but there's like 32 nylon lock nuts. And that's assembly time. That is, everything has been put together, the table's on, the fence guide is back in. Now, the next phase would be adjustments. It comes with a blade, a resaw blade almost, because it's about 3/8, maybe a 1/2 inch. No, I think it's 3/8. And I do notice that the blade guides are not where I would have them. The blade is centered on the tires. That's important and that's good. Quick release. The door is metal. there's a tension window that you can see where your blade is at tension wise. I think this could use a little bit more, but okay, so let me reset, and I'm gonna go through the adjustments. I'm actually gonna go by the book too, because this saw is new to me, and we'll see just where that brings us. But so far, man, definitely heavy duty, definitely not cheaply made, in my opinion, thus far. All right. Oh, look at that. Put that down. Okay, we'll get back to you after I get it adjusted. Okay, I brought you back a little early here. I put the table on, locked it back into place. You know, it's got a stop on this end. And the first thing to do is check the blade squareness to the table. And boy, I'll tell you, out of the box, I think it's gnat's ass on. Now I expect blade drift because I've never had a bandsaw that doesn't have any. But that sure is a good start. That saves me a lot of time as well. So anyway, I'll move on with the rest of the adjustments, and we'll see how many times I bring you back ahead of time. And we're back. So I put the rip fence on, and I just gave it a quick random spot and locked it down, just without doing anything to it. And I measured from the back end to the edge of the table, and it's at 11 1/4. And then I came to the front, and it is at 11 1/4, and not a 30-second off. I didn't expect that, because it doesn't. To be honest, this doesn't look like, it's not a heavy duty. I mean, it locks in. There's 14 1/8, and there is 14 1/8. So I can't ask for more than that either. The table is greased, so I'll be cleaning it off and putting a coat of wax on it here shortly. I think next is the blade guide adjustments. I noticed that these are thumb screws, and I really like that. If you've ever adjusted a bandsaw, you know that can be a pain in the butt. So anyway, bye again. It's me again. First off, I went ahead and I always adjust my miter gauges against the fence like this at first, especially for something like this where, anyway, it has a tiny bit of slop, but nothing that is a game changer or a deal breaker. There is a thrust bearing on the top and the bottom. They are adjusted by an Allen wrench, but the Allen wrench is provided, and they go on the back cover here. There's a storage for them. But everything I read or other videos I watched, they said there was no thrust bearing. Also, you can speed adjust it. The only reason I can think to do that off of what it is if you're going to cut metal, and it's not a metal cutting bandsaw, but I guess you could. But I want you to hear. Look. Very, very quiet compared to my old little 10-inch. Haven't cut anything yet. That'll be next. But let me give you the grand tour. Let's unplug it. So it has 3 wheels and a release. So you're on a tripod, so you do need to be a little careful when you're turning it. It's kind of like them old trikes. In the back here, you have tracking adjustment. You have tension for the blade, and this is something I do like. And I've never had except for an industrial bandsaw that at work, is that. It's a quick release for your tension. You shouldn't store your bandsaw with the blade under tension. So if you're not going to use it for a day or two, just do that. Here's those Allen wrenches I was telling you about. Everything you need to make your adjustments that aren't on a thumb. It has a a lock switch for safety. If you got kids around or adults like me around. I like this. You have to loosen it and then keep it loose. Your blade tension wheels go up and down by this, not just drop, because I think we've all dropped those before on bandsaws. The only thing negative so far, to change the blade, you do have to take this off. It's only 4 like plasticky wing nuts. My worry is that that taking it on and off may throw it out of adjustment, but I butted it all the way in and just tightened it without any measuring, and this, you saw, this came up perfect. So I can't complain about something that isn't yet an issue. I will keep an eye on it as we run tests and I begin to use it. I didn't check the, well, it says it's an inch, and it's an inch, but it's inch to center blade. I don't use these. I use these as rough, but I don't use those for my final cuts. It doesn't have a high fence, so I will be making a high fence for resawing to go with it. Let's throw a piece of wood through it, and then I'll go back and clean up the table, clean up my shop, figure out a place to put the thing, and call it a night. I'm a little tired. Okay, I'm going to do the first cut with you. Every time I see somebody on YouTube with a bandsaw, they always have this raised up, and I used to think, well, it's supposed to be even closer than this to your workpiece. I realize they do it for filming, but so I compromised. I brought it low enough to keep the blade, and these are adjusted with a feeler gauge, by the way. 0.03 on the sides, 0.04 on the thrust bearing. So I'm just going to run a piece through here and say we tested it. That's a pretty big blade, so I didn't go crazy, but and this is just a piece of mahogany that I had scrap, but the cut is fine. A little dirt, that's not burn, that's just probably grease from the new blade, but it's a nice clean cut. It tracks pretty true. I just did a quick sketch line on there and followed it, and it did that. This is, well, I think with my 30% off, I think all total out the door is like $500. Normally it's like a $600 saw. So anyway, it's not a $2,000 jet, or, you know. So you notice when you turn it on, listen, and there she goes. My suggestion, let me yeah, let it ramp up for a second before you throw wood at it, because again, it's not $150 benchtop saw, but it's more comparable with the expensive ones, I think, so far. I need a locker. So the compromise there is let it ramp up for a second. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go put it away. Look for upcoming videos where we do some mods to it and follow up on what I think of it in another month. But yeah, anyway, guys, this is the big addition to my shop while I was gone. Oh, in the last set of bolts for this was this pin. And I didn't dive in on my own, but the instructions didn't tell me where the pin goes. So we'll figure that out. Oh, hang on, one more thing. It's got a nice tray, almost like a metal lathe. It's got a good, 3-inch dust port. And for the lower wheel, it has a mounted brush to keep the debris off the wheel. Yeah, right here. None on the top, but still a nice little feature, you know? Keep the wheel clean with the dust coming down. You keep your bandsaw clean and your bandsaw will maintain happiness. I made that up. You can use it. Okay. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too boring, but if you're in the market for a new bandsaw, and I don't work for Bauer or Harbor Freight yet, maybe someday. And if I do, if I get that endorsement, you can be sure I'm going to find out and tell you where the pin goes. So, till next week, thanks for being here, guys. Bye.